Welcome to Top Fact Amazing. Bad days are part of life even for our furry, feathered, and scaly friends. Being cute isn't always easy, and animals face plenty of challenges too. From eating things they shouldn't to making questionable choices, here's a look at some animals who are definitely having a rougher day than you. Any pet owner knows how attached animals can get to their favorite toys, and if that special item gets lost or broken, it's a crisis. So, grab some tissues for the heartbreaking story of the goat who broke his beloved trampoline. Yes, you heard that right. A Redditor shared an adorable yet pitiful image of a disgruntled goat peering up from his broken mini trampoline, likely the victim of a bit too much enthusiastic bouncing. Naturally, the sight of this poor goat's trampoline troubles sparked a frenzy of support from fellow Redditors, who flooded the post with ideas and offers to help restore his joy. Thankfully, we didn't have to wait long for the happy update from his owner, Redditor Shelby_73. Mr. Goat now has a brand new trampoline, complete with a slide. Ah, look how pleased he is. Who knew that the tale of a goat and his broken trampoline would be the thing to warm my cold little heart? After hearing about Mr. Goat, I'm now on a mission to bring trampolines to goats everywhere. Just imagine it, an entire world where every lovable farmyard goat can bounce to their heart's content. And the best part? You can help make it happen for the low cost of hitting those like and subscribe buttons. Plus, by subscribing, you'll get amazing content in your feed every day. It's a no-brainer. Now, back to it. If Mr. Goat's trampoline story didn't fully restore your faith in the world, let's meet Stormy the horse. Owned by Twitter user Ellen Rebecca, Stormy was caught sizing up a delicious apple, ready to dig in. But just moments after Ellen snapped the photo, disaster struck. Stormy dropped her apple. Her expression says it all. She looks absolutely heartbroken. When Ellen shared this hilarious two-part saga on Twitter, it went viral, racking up over 300,000 likes and almost 60,000 retweets. Naturally, fans wanted to know how things turned out. Thankfully, Ellen posted an update the next day, a new photo of Stormy with her apple restored. Her little smirk says it all. It was totally worth it. And while animals like to pretend they don't need us, sometimes a little human help goes a long way. Take this unlucky duck, for instance, who found himself stuck in a fence after a less than graceful landing. Anyone else think he looks like he's waiting in the stalks, just waiting for townsfolk to toss tomatoes? Luckily for this goofy bird, Redditor Go Ask Alice discovered him after her dog started going crazy in the backyard. She managed to free the duck, who then flew away, a bit ruffled but thankfully unharmed. Now that's what I call a stuck duck. It's no secret that people love treating their pets, and even though we know they shouldn't have too much human food, there's something irresistibly satisfying about watching them try something new. Take Napoleon, a curious kitty who got quite the shock when he sampled his owner's ice cream for the first time. Yes, Napoleon experienced the dreaded kitty brain freeze. With ice cream dripping down his chin, he made the cutest little gurgling noise, his expression revealing a mix of wonder and regret. When we eat something icy, the sudden cooling of blood vessels in our mouth causes them to dilate, resulting in that uncomfortable sensation we know as brain freeze. Napoleon might think twice next time. Since cats have neuroanatomy very similar to ours, it's safe to say that their sensory experience of brain freeze is no different. Besides the fact that this might not be the kindest experience to spring on your unsuspecting kitty, the fat content in frozen treats can also upset a cat's stomach, so it's probably best to steer clear. But once Napoleon recovered from the shock, he went right back in for more. It seems he's living by my motto, ice cream comes first, always. What's the weirdest thing your pet loves to eat? Maybe your dog can't get enough of Brussels sprouts, or your hamster has a secret peanut butter obsession. Whatever it may be, I'd love to hear about it. Drop your stories in the comments below, and I might even respond to some of my favorites. We all know dogs form strong bonds with their humans, which makes leaving them behind for a vacation all the harder. Thankfully, there are plenty of doggy daycare centers to look after and entertain our furry friends while we're away. But some pups have a harder time saying goodbye than others. Meet Penny. After her owners left her at doggy daycare, they received a hilarious photo in her first report card, meant to show just how much she was loving it there. Maybe I missed the memo, but I don't remember loving it looking like you're holding back tears with every fiber of your being. Here's an exclusive peek at what's probably going on in Penny's head right now, when they ask you how you are, and you just have to say you're fine, but you're not really fine, and they just wouldn't understand. Needless to say, Penny's reunion with her family must have been sweeter than ever. People say pets shouldn't be left alone for too long to avoid mischief, but how much trouble could a tortoise possibly cause? Well, just ask this guy. When his owner found him struggling upstairs, it took a moment to piece together the clues of what exactly had happened here. See that brown splodge on his back foot? That's his own, well, you know what. And judging by the suspicious marks on the rug around him, it's safe to say the story went something like this. The tortoise pooped, got it stuck on his foot, ran around in circles trying to shake it off, and eventually flipped over only to be discovered that way when his owner came home. Now that, my friends, is one seriously crappy day. Most domestic cats thrive on a diet of canned and dried cat food, which provides all the nutrition they need. But some owners just can't resist treating them to a bit of human food now and then. That is, unless your cat reacts like this Egyptian Mal, who gags every single time they even get a whiff of it. It seems like there isn't a single human food on the planet that doesn't leave this cat feeling queasy. Chinese food? Nope. Pizza? Hard pass. A juicy burger? Absolutely not. Sushi? Don't even think about it. But why can't this kitty hold back that gag-worthy response? With an incredible 65 million smell receptors, it's likely that the intense smell of human food alone is enough to trigger this reaction. Here's a bit of biology for you. A cat's vomeronasal sac, which helps them process smells, is located at the upper part of the mouth. Cats use their tongues to direct strong or unpleasant smells to the back of their throat, leading to the gagging sound. Of course, other causes for feline gagging exist too, like stomach troubles, hairballs, or even bacterial infections. But it seems like this furry guy really doesn't approve of his owner's diet. He even gags from across the room. Note to self, never cook dinner for this cat. Not everyone's perfect pet is a cat or dog. Plenty of people prefer their animals on the smaller side, like hamsters. But don't assume a smaller pet means less hassle. Imagine this, you settle down for a movie with a big bowl of popcorn, but when you reach down for another handful, it's empty, and you've only got one suspect, Mr. Big Cheeks here. Have you ever seen a guiltier-looking hamster? It seems like he inhaled that popcorn in record time. He may look like he's having the time of his life right now, but something tells me he'll be regretting it by morning. Pigeons, on the other hand, don't exactly have a reputation for being the smartest or most beloved animals. Often dubbed rats of the sky, these city dwellers have a knack for getting in people's way wherever they go. Take a look at this image, it couldn't prove my point better. No, this isn't an artist's rendition of a pigeon painted on a car window. What actually happened is that a pigeon flew into the back of someone's car with such force that it seemed to leave an imprint of its very soul behind. There's no official update on the bird's fate, but knowing pigeons, it probably flew away, a bit dazed but unharmed. When it comes to pets, maintaining a good grooming routine is essential. After all, if you never bathed, you'd be a bit unpleasant too. Generally, bathing your dog once a month is a good rule of thumb, but here's a top tip: make sure you're using the right products, or your dog could end up like this. Believe it or not, this poor pup was turned blue after his owner accidentally grabbed hair dye instead of dog shampoo. Look at those innocent eyes, he has no idea he's walking around looking like the long-lost sibling of Clifford the Big Red Dog. If you needed another reminder to keep up with your dog's grooming, check out this video of Peanut, the canine embodiment of a Monday morning. In fact, I'm not even sure Peanut knows what day of the week it is anymore. According to his owner, Peanut's hair grows incredibly fast, and due to his age, he doesn't get groomed as often as they'd like, resulting in this adorably bedraggled look. Don't even think about talking to Peanut about having a bad hair day. Squirrels may be cute and goofy, but they're also notorious pests in residential areas and woodlands, where their mischievous nature can be quite the headache. Take, for example, this sneaky little guy who decided to try his luck swiping food from a bird feeder in Charlie Oliver's backyard. As he shimmies up the pole with ease, he has no idea he's about to go on the ride of his life. With a little too much confidence, he leaps onto the feeder, which begins to spin faster and faster. It's clear he realizes his mistake, but he's determined to hang on for as long as he can. Eventually, his little front claws give way, and he ends up swinging around by his back feet until he's flung off altogether. Watching this, I half expected a panel of judges to appear, scoring him for form and shouting 10. 10. 10, across the board. Safe to say, this little daredevil probably couldn't walk straight for days, and I doubt he'll try a stunt like that again anytime soon. Birds, on the other hand, are usually known for their grace, effortlessly spreading their wings and soaring through the sky. But somehow, it seems this feathered fellow didn't get the memo on graceful landings. Not only did this bird fall flat on his face, but he's sitting there, all squished and waiting for his owner to fix his mistake, while they take a photo, of course. I bet that's the last time he'll choose the stairs over, flying. With rapid development in rural areas, animals and humans have had to learn how to coexist more than ever. But sometimes, things don't go quite as planned. Just take a look at this utterly disappointed squirrel who showed up in someone's front yard, only to find that his former home had completely disappeared. I wonder how long he stood there, trying to make sense of it all. Looks like Mr. Squirrel's episode of MTV Cribs will have to be postponed. Cats may have a reputation for being lazy and aloof, but they're also famously curious. As the saying goes, curiosity killed the cat, or maybe it just frazzled its whiskers? No, this isn't some rare breed of cat with naturally curly whiskers. It's just a very determined kitty who got a little too close to the stove while sniffing around for bacon. And he's not the only one to make that mistake. Check out this fearless feline who decided to cozy up to the fireplace for some warmth, only to singe her whiskers right off. You might be surprised to learn that a cat's whiskers are actually just hair, technically called tactile hairs or vibrissae. And like regular hair, they naturally fall out and grow back, so luckily these curious kitties won't be stuck with fancy, curly whiskers forever. Dogs, on the other hand, can't resist the urge to chase, it's just in their nature. Many breeds were specifically developed to flush out small animals like rabbits, gophers, and other critters. But there's one animal every pup should avoid at all costs: the porcupine. Unless they're keen on ending up like this unfortunate pooch. Though porcupines are generally reclusive, they're active throughout the year, mainly at dusk and dawn. And while the myth of porcupines shooting their quills has been debunked, they do raise their quills when threatened, and these can detach easily on contact. This makes porcupines a real danger to unsuspecting dogs who might encounter one of these spiny creatures while exploring the woods. Dogs with a face full of porcupine quills will need a professional vet to remove them, and it can be a painful process. Essentially, porcupines and canine curiosity are a recipe for disaster. Our pets can end up at the vet for all kinds of reasons, and often, they come back sporting a particular fashion accessory, the dreaded cone of shame. Cone collars are essential after surgeries to keep dogs and cats from licking their wounds, but our pets definitely don't enjoy them. Just look at this annoyed kitty, who seems utterly repulsed by his new look. You can almost hear him thinking, "You have betrayed me, human, and you will pay for this." Dogs, on the other hand, love nothing more than sticking their heads out the window when their owners take them for a drive. But this poor pooch got more than he bargained for when he leaned out for some fresh air on the highway. This poor pup looks like he's bracing against some serious G-forces, but he's determined to stick it out, come what may. But why do dogs love sticking their heads out the window so much? Besides helping them cool off, it's all about scent. A dog's sense of smell is far superior to ours, so when they stick their head out the window and feel the rush of air, it's a sensory overload of smells, a full experience for their sniffer. Sensory overload definitely sums up what this pupper is going through right now. In many ways, dogs are like big, fluffy kids, and just like kids, they love testing their owner's patience with a little mischief. Imagine this: moments after you've picked up your sparkling white pooch from the groomers, he bolts out to the freshly cut lawn, rolls around, and returns looking, well, let's just say, a little less pristine. This guilty-looking pup appears to be just seconds away from shouting, "Get out of my swamp!" I can't imagine how much scrubbing it took to get rid of that green hue. Straight back to the groomers for you, sir. Here's another one of those record scratch, freeze-frame moments. I bet you're wondering how I got here. It seems like this mouse is in full-on Mission Impossible mode, caught mid-shimmy while attempting a daring escape. Judging by the pleading look in his eyes, though, it's safe to say he may need a little help getting out of this tight spot. Some animals are determined to handle things on their own, but when they find themselves in a real sticky situation, they don't have much choice but to accept a helping hand. So, when one homeowner heard a crash on her roof and rushed to the window, she was amused to find a trash panda waving back at her. Depending on how you look at it, this raccoon's raised hand is either a casual "nothing to see here, folks," or a desperate SOS for a little rescue. If there's one thing dogs love, besides snoozing and going on walks, it's eating. But there are some foods they definitely shouldn't touch. Chocolate, onions, grapes, and bees? Yes, bees. It seems this poor pupper missed that memo and ended up in a showdown with a stinging insect, which led to an inevitable trip to the vet and the dreaded cone of shame. Despite being blessed creatures, dogs sometimes make silly mistakes, and few come with more regret than chasing a miniature fluffy flying ball only to realize it doesn't taste as fun as it looks. And this little guy isn't the only pup who's been betrayed by the oh-so-tempting bee. Just look at this guy's swollen face, you can almost hear him saying, "I regret nothing." And what about this little one whose head looks like it's doubled in size? Those big eyes are practically pleading, "Mom, I made a boo-boo." It seems man's best friend still has a bit to learn about the difference between a regular sky raisin and a jalapeno sky raisin. Then again, without these adorably hilarious photos, what would keep us smiling? Goats are some of the cutest farm animals around, but brace yourself for the ultimate cuteness overload: goats with pool noodles on their horns. You might wonder, what could these land-loving animals want with a kitty swimming aid? Well, it's actually a clever form of punishment for misbehaving goats. Goats tend to headbutt each other when irritated, and those sharp horns can do serious damage to other animals and even humans. The pool noodle acts as a soft buffer, discouraging aggression while looking absolutely adorable, though the goats themselves might not agree. And if you don't have a pool noodle handy, why not get creative with a pair of tennis balls or even a bucket? It's safe to say none of these goats are thrilled about their new headgear. But maybe it'll teach them to keep their rowdiness in check. It's hard to imagine a time when cats and dogs weren't domesticated. They're so accustomed to the comforts of home that they barely know how to handle the great outdoors. But what happens when one of our beloved pets finds themselves locked out? One owner let their dog out in the front yard and accidentally forgot him. When they finally came back, they found him peeking through the letterbox with a look that said, "Hello? Is anybody home?" And when a clever kitty got locked out one evening, she went one step further to get her owner's attention by using the doorbell cam. Although, knowing cats, she probably sat there with an "oh, I didn't actually want to come" in attitude when her owner finally opened the door. Which of these unfortunate animals made you giggle the most? If you're not done laughing at others' misfortune quite yet, why not check out this video next? It's about people having a worse day than you. Thanks for watching, guys.